My name is Garry Hubbard, and I'm running for Virginia Beach City Council seat at large. A little background, I'm a Navy veteran, came to this area in 1973. I'm a small businessman since 1981 in the commercial and residential construction fields. And I'd like to share a little bit about the help that a good friend of mine, and we were both the primary contractors on Atlantic Shores Retirement Community, and Norman Goodloe, owner of Robert R. Marquis Construction Business, and Norman has passed now, God rest his soul. But we set up a field to help minority and women-owned contractors. We started this in the early 80s and through the late 90s. We actually set up classes to help with the takeoffs for plans, to put together a bid, and to be able to bid with the level playing field that Norman and I also enjoyed. We bid on the same jobs for federal, state, and city. So we actually set up a program to help the minority and women-owned contractors back in the 80s before now that everybody's getting on the bandwagon to try to preach about. We actually did that. We actually helped with putting together overhead and profit, labor and the financial end of it so they could complete the jobs and actually get their feet underneath the table so they could start bidding the jobs also. I believe a level playing field is what we need in Virginia Beach and especially the city of Virginia Beach. We need to open up the contracting field. The diversity study that just came about shows there is definitely a need to open up the city for all participants, not just a select few. I'd like to also talk about my business experience. I know what the budgets are, I know what a business plan is, and I understand that the city is $2.6 billion in a hole. We cannot sustain this debt. We have to address this debt and start to pay it down. We have many complex problems that the city must address, such as flooding, such as pension liability, such as public-private partnerships that must favor the city. And I'll go into that in a little bit further. But we must address this debt. We must start paying it down. We must have the money available for our first responders, our teachers, people that work for the city, so they can actually not have to worry about their retirement if the money's going to be there. These people put in hard working hours to make sure our city functions the way it should. So now let's talk about the city itself. We have flooding issues that we must control and mitigate. Princess Anne Plaza, Windsor Woods, Pungo Ferry, Sand Bridge, too numerous to mention. For 12 plus years, the existing city council and the city has performed no maintenance. Public Works has admitted that they have not finished hooking up the actual storm drainage systems in some areas. No wonder it floods. If you look at our ditches and our canals and our holding ponds and our lakes, they've all silted over. We have trees growing in the canals and the ditches. Now, how long does it have to be for a tree to grow before you actually perform any maintenance? So we need to actually take that first step and address the flooding seriously. Out of sight and out of mind is no longer going to cut it. So we've got to take this serious. The road works that we're going to do, Pungo Ferry and the expansion for Nemo Parkway, we need to lobby the state to make sure the money is available there so we can actually do that. The Dewberry study needs to make sure that elevations on Nemo Parkway is going to be viable and not be underwater so the citizens of Sandbridge have another viable way to leave in case of catastrophic flood or any high water that the streets flood and they cannot get out. Make sure that we have these problems and address these problems. We have to have the experience, knowledge, and skill sets to make sure that we understand what we need to do. Not just talk about it, but actually have a plan to address the $2.6 billion debt that we have, address the flooding that we're experiencing, to make sure we have attainable and affordable housing so new business have an incentive to come here, to make sure our resiliency is actually taken care of to incentivize business to come here. Let's look at the public-private partnerships. We have some wealthy developers that want to close Atlantic Avenue simply because they would like it better parking. This is insane. We cannot do this. You cannot close off Atlantic Avenue. The state has said no twice. The citizens of Virginia Beach have said no twice. This is a hurricane evacuation route, so we need to make sure we keep our viable options open. So we need to make sure that our city is open to all the citizens of Virginia Beach. I want to represent all the citizens of Virginia Beach, the homeless, our veterans, the hardworking men and women that are trying to make ends meet on substandard wages. So we need to make sure the economic impact is not hurting our senior citizens, the people on fixed incomes, and the hard-working men and women trying to make ends meet. Try to make sure that we keep our taxes and fees down. So once again, I want to ask for your vote on November 6th. I thank you for your time, and I humbly ask for your vote on November 6th. This is paid for by friends of Garry Hubbard.